dancing with me over there? Hey! Clap, clap, clap like you don't care. I know you care. Clap. Hey everyone, this is Quanisha. Hey Pollywood Glam, that's my homegirl there, one of my best friends. Thank you for joining. Hey everyone, I am kid free. If you saw my last video, I had the baby, I was cooking. So now I have the little setup here. I got my computer going to record. Got Periscope. Hey there, hey, hey, hey. Thank you for coming back, Mocha. And please swipe, I think it's right? I think you swipe to the right, share with your friends, have them come on. So invite one of your favorite black women, because this is the founder. I'm Quanisha Green now. I got married, so I'm used to saying Quanisha Smith. The founder and chief activator of the Black Women Rise movement. And you might see me shifting because I got two things recording here. And I'm really happy to come back to you to talk about effective goal setting. So before we go into the lesson, and I got notes, y'all. You can't see it, but I got stuff written down this time, so I'm not just going off the top of my head. Thank you, SM Morton. I think, is that my friend Takia? Okay, I'm not sure. The name looks familiar. So I got notes here, but before we get into it, let me tell you who I am. Yay! We gotta hook up. I've been thinking about you. Okay. Now I've done told all the Periscope and whoever's watching this later. Oh, she sent me hearts. Thank you. So I'm happy to come here. My name is Quanisha Green. I'm the founder, CEO, and I like to say chief activator of the Black Women Rise movement. I don't know, have any of you ever done the Strength Finders test? It tells you your top 5 strengths. And my top 5 strength is activator, which means I help people to make it happen, right? I help you make it happen. And the reason I can do that is because I'm a go-getter. I'm a type A personality, but I'm also very passionate and highly motivated. And I love helping women CEOs, Black women CEOs, not become an anomaly, or continue to be an anomaly, but to become a standard. So a little bit about my background. I started the Black Women Rise movement about 18 months ago, and we have done very well for ourselves. In about 18 months, we have touched 3,000 women, and we track that by those women who have downloaded our Black Women Rise Leadership Guide, 12 effective resources for Black women, right? So I share my top tips, because that's one question people were always asking me, Quanisha, what are your resources? How did you get, you know, maybe as good as you got at something? So I actually put it all together in a guide. So if you go to blackwomenrise.com, the URL is right there in the title. So Black Women with an E, rise.com. You can jump on in and get the guide yourself with, you know, some of my favorite resources. And one of the ones I share is the Strength Finders test, so that you can find out what your top 5 strengths are, because it really does impact how you go about the world, right? It tells you who you are. But so a little bit, so like I said, I'm the founder, 3,000 women we have touched with the Black Women Rise movement. And I have such a deep story, there's so much. But my entrepreneur journey actually started when I decided that I had all these skills, I had all these strengths, and I was giving it to my job. And hey there, and I felt my job wasn't, you can say, appreciating all of who I was. And I realized I said the same things that I'm doing for these folks here, I could do for myself. And I was in graduate school at the time, and so I decided to quit my job, and I went to my second year of graduate school. I have a master's in social work, and I went to my second year of graduate school full time, and luckily I got a student job, so you know, I wasn't ignoring the bills or anything, still contributing to the family. And during that, God spoke to me, and I felt God deeply, and God was saying, go work with Black women, go do the work that you want to do. I'm also a certified master in corporate life coach. So I actually started to focus my coaching as well as my master thesis on Black women and our particular challenges as it comes to leadership, mental health, healing. And so the Black Women Rise is like a culmination of all that stuff together. So I spent over 100 hours studying our particular challenges and issues that has a historical, cultural context, right? Really what impacts us when it comes to leadership. He said, so you're talking about being your own boss and starting your own biz. Yes, those are things that we talk about in the Black Women Rise movement, but particularly the approach that we take with Black women and why is because many of us are highly qualified and credentialed, and a lot of studies are showing that we are overlooked in our traditional roles, right? There was one study that showed that 51% of the participants were being overlooked for promotion. right? When you look at the statistics around even political leadership, many of us are leaders in our communities, affecting change. But when you look at our political representation, there really aren't many Black women. We're underrepresented, right? And one of the reasons that is because of bias. And it's an unconscious bias, right? So it's not saying that all, white males typically tend to be the people in power. And it's not saying that they are consciously saying, I don't want the Black woman in charge, right? That's why I call myself sister in charge. I'm the HSIC, the head sister in charge. I really loved the movie Lean on Me as a kid. So Joe Clark was my motivation for my handle, right? So sister in charge. But back to the story. So a lot of the research is saying, we got to change organizations. We got to have systematic change in corporate America so that more disenfranchised groups like Black women can actually move into leadership. Because the problem is that people often mentor those who look like them. And it really is because they remind them of them. So often people who have similar values and things like that, it reminds you of them. And so white men tend to mentor white men or maybe other white people over when you get to people of color and even people LGBTQ, right? It's a lot of issues around that. So my background is in social justice. I spent like 10 years in the field of community organizing and nonprofit leadership. But if you want to, you can go Google. I'm not here to inform Black people about Black people. That's not my job. I don't take on that responsibility. So if you want to go, you can go Google. I identify as a Black woman. So the reason, so in the research, everyone's advocating for social change and justice for diversity, right? And I think that's all well and good, right? My background, social justice. Yes, we need systematic change, but it takes the power out of Black women's hands, right? So we're waiting for someone else to change. If we're waiting for, okay, I hear a baby crying. Are you okay? Okay, it's just a video game. You don't have to cry over it. My son has this Mickey Mouse game on the Xbox, and he's a very passionate child, just like his mother. And so when he's not getting to the level that he wants, he starts to cry. He's 4 years old, so we're trying to encourage him not to cry because he can't get to a level or something like that. So that's what that was about. I do like to, sometimes I try to wait, but I'm like, let me find out, make sure he's not hurt because I'm up here in the office. Anyway, so like I said, Black women are being overlooked is due to bias, right? When we're not in positions of leadership. And the research is advocating that we actually, change the system, wait for the system to change, and for people to basically not say we're no longer invisible. And I'm not for that, right? I'm not waiting for someone else to acknowledge my presence and my existence as a Black woman. No, thank you. So my whole thing with the Black Women's Rights Movement is that we need to be proactive contributors to our own success. So whether you want to stay in the traditional work environment, right? How are you increasing your leadership skills and your strengths so that you can be noticed? But what I advocate is for every Black woman to start a business. Right? Or learn entrepreneurial skills so that you can take it on. So you can have a side hustle, you can have a small business, or you can look to do this full time like I do. I work from home. I've been doing this full time, and I had the ability to do that right out of graduate school. And actually, in the statistics, how they manipulate them can be funny, but Black women it's the largest rising, you can say, ethnic group, Black women-run businesses in the country. So we're starting businesses left and right. Now, the key with that statistic is that that's just registered businesses. So as many of you know, you probably know someone who's registered an LLC and has done nothing with it, right? But I think what's interesting about it is that Black women, we're seeking it in the first place, right? We're seeking to get out of the traditional workplace and do it on our own. And I have met a number of Black women, and a number of them are my clients, who are high achieving professional Black women who are killing it right at work. And many of you like that. You're you're at the top of your field, you're a go-getter. But when it comes to doing your own business stuff, it's like a whole different person comes, right? You're like, does anybody care what I have to say? Is this gonna work? I don't know. And it's because it's your baby now. It's your brain trust. It's your expertise. It's the thing that you're probably most passionate about in your purpose. That now you're saying, I'm going to go put this out in the world, right? I'm now going to face criticism and judgment and possibly rejection, right? And that's a very scary thing for many of us, right? And so what I do as a Black woman CEO coach and in the Black woman CEO coaching programs is that I actually work with Black women to first master themselves, right? So that we can dig out what's actually causing you to hesitate, to maybe not take action, to shy away from your goals, right? We dig all that stuff out. And I start to help you really fulfill your purpose and stand in your power and to get propelled by your purpose so that you can do the work that you're meant to do. And on the side of the master yourself that I help my clients with, I also help you master your business, right? So I have spent way too much money. Like, I'm really talking about at least $20K outside of my formal education and scholarships and loans. I have invested that much into my business education as an entrepreneur and taken my CEO role seriously. So I have studied with Black Woman Millionaire Dr. Venus, Sister Sense, LaShonda Henry, Millionaire in the Making. She's going to hit her millionaire goal this year. Rosetta Thurman of Happy Black Woman. I'm actually the head business coach there. Yes, master yourself to master your business, right? So I know these systems. I know proven systems and steps that can really help you build revenue generating systems. So you're not just saying I'm an entrepreneur, yes, I feel good not doing these activities. You actually are doing strategies, right? So I teach a 4-step system. So one is first your state of mind. Then I teach you strategies and systems. And along the way, I help you with support, right? So you're not doing this alone, right? So you have the accountability and the tough love that I love to give so that you can implement, right? So that you can execute. So that's the chief activator in me. I help you to make it happen. So that's Quanisha in a little nutshell. And I was giving people more time to join. So thank you all those who are joining us. And today I wanted to talk about, as the title says, effective goal setting. And thank you all for the hearts. That's right. Tap it up. Heart, 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 heart. And also swipe right. Invite another Black woman, right? These are things that we don't talk about, particularly in the cultural context, right? People are talking, all on Periscope, you have people talking about entrepreneurship and how you need to get busy, but particularly with Black women, they're not talking about our challenges. Or even as women, they're not talking about the particular challenges that we have with showing up for ourselves and to doing well in business, right? So that's what I'm talking about. Goal setting today in my little notes. It has a magnet on the back. I'm like, I love this because it can go on the wall. But let's talk about goal setting, right? So I was downstairs today cooking. If you look at the previous video, I was cooking. Welcome to Periscope. Mert Soy, that's an interesting name. And I had this thought, and it's something that, to be completely transparent, I was thinking about my own goals. So my own goals for 2017, I spent the last week doing my own, basically being my own client, and going through and planning and thinking about who do I want to serve, how do I want to serve them, what am I standing for as just Quanisha, or even Black Women Rise as we come into 2017, right? And I started to think about my big goal, and my big goal is to touch, at least next year, another 1,000 Black women, but not just those who have downloaded my guide, but to have 1,000 Black women CEOs or CEOs in the making in a group coaching program that I'm creating. So my signature service has had various iterations of the Black Women CEO coaching program, but it's all been one-to-one. Right? I work individually with people. And I've had a number of women in our different communities asking for a group mentoring program. And I'm interested in doing it too and launching that because, you know, I think we need that community too for the accountability and for us to do what we need to do. And I want to touch more women, right? So I was thinking about this goal, like 1,000 Black women CEOs, right? Through Black Women Rise. And I got scared. I felt the fear creeping up, right? My thoughts started like, oh my God, can I do that? Is that too big? Who am I, right, to think that I can touch 1,000 Black women CEOs, right? Am I even being considered as a CEO? I now realize that on my computer, none of this is being recorded. So I'm going to stop even looking over there. I had it on photo, but it's being recorded here on Periscope, so we'll have the video. So I'll just keep looking over here. I'm going to close it now, actually. So, right, I had my own fear about my own big goal, right? So here is, I just told you, I'm an activator. I'm someone who makes it happen. I implement my success, right? I've been able to work full-time for myself, replace my income. We just touched 3,000 Black women, right? And here I am afraid, right? I'm afraid. My fear crept up on me. And then I thought about, if I'm feeling this as someone who has had, you can say a lot of accomplishments working for myself, as well as in the traditional, but I'm not talking about that because like I said, you are a go-getter at your job. But when it comes to doing it on your own in your business, you hesitate. right? The thoughts stop creeping up, the negative thoughts, the fear, all those kind of things like that. And so that's the problem that many of us have with goal setting, right? We're in the last 6 weeks of the year. It's November 15th today, or 14th. I think it's 15th. And in a few weeks, we're going, many people start doing, hi there from Turkey. Many people start doing their New Year's resolutions. You might already be thinking about all these resolutions that you want to do, right? But like probably what happened this year, you get to about February, March, and you get back to life, your regular life, and your goals get put by the wayside, right? Or your priorities shift, and you basically go back to doing what you were doing before, right? Sleeping late, not getting up, maybe not tending to yourself, not marketing to get clients for your business, right? You start focusing on work and maybe working later, whatever it is, you start going back to the other stuff. And that is because of fear. It's because of fear. So often our fear creeps up when we come to this rim of comfort, right? And it's a comfort zone. When we have to do something new, it revs up our fear because it's the unknown, right? It's the unknown. You haven't done it before. Okay, stuff is like popping up. But the thing about fear, I like to say that emotions are different signposts, right? And fear is a stop sign. And the problem with fear is that many of us stop at the stop sign and we sit there and we don't move. But as you all know, that's not the purpose of a stop sign. A stop sign is to stop, assess, right, the situation. You look both ways to make sure no cars are coming, and you keep going. Right? And so one way to deal with fear is to acknowledge it and to analyze it. So that's when my fear crept up. I was like, oh, I'm going to analyze this and then share it with everybody else so that they can get help. And so when you're setting your goals for next year, things that might be creeping up for you around fear is, can I be that? Can I do that? Some of you might even be questioning, who are you to even try to do that? Right? Our emotions start to get attached to these goals, right? So whether the goal is even outside of entrepreneurship, it might be for you to be healthier. It might be for you to spend more time with your family, whatever it is. And the reason why that fear is cropping up is because you now have to change something about who you are right now in order to achieve what you want to be. I hope that makes sense, right? And so just to say it in a different way, who you are right now may not be who you need to be to get to where you want to go. So you basically have to change. And many of us don't like to change. Change is difficult, but it is possible. So what's the alternative? So one way that I work with my clients to help them deal with fear and change is that we have to take our emotion out of it. Right? We have to take our emotion out of it. And one way that I do it is that I want you to even think about goal setting differently. So now you're not setting goals, right? A lot of people go into the SMART goals, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, what's the time frame? Forget all that. Instead of setting goals, I want you to set a target. So think of a bullseye and think about when you're playing darts, right? Many of us aim for the bullseye and maybe we wind up in a ring around it. But you probably are not crying when you end up like maybe 2 rings over, unless you're my son, because like I said, he gets emotional about his games. It's 4, right? You assess the situation. So you haven't, all of us when we're playing bullseye, we have a target. We want to hit the red dot. And so we throw our dart and then we assess, right? So we throw and we assess and we say, hey, I was a little bit far to the left. Let me move myself over. Or I was too far up. Let me try to aim down. So with instead of saying you're going to goal set, if you say I'm going to set targets for myself in the next year, it takes the emotion out of it and it makes it just an assessment process. It allows you to take action and then it allows you to assess that action, right? So instead of the ready, aim, fire, you have now ready, fire, and then you assess the fire where it ended and then you set a new aim. Right, so that's one of the alternatives to traditional goal setting that's more effective is to think of your goals as targets. right? And take the emotions out of it. Take the emotions. You're now detached from the outcome, right? Because it's not about you. Someone said progress. I love it. It's not about you, right? Where you land on the dartboard doesn't say anything about who you are as a person or your value and whether or not people are going to like you. It's just, no, now it's an assessment of an action, a series of actions that you took. And now you can take a different set of actions. Once again, not being attached to it because it's not about you. It's now about behaviors, right? And another way to do this, so how do you figure out what your targets are? So some of it is to think once again about this big target. What is the bullseye you're trying to hit? And then reverse engineer, right? So now, like say your end goal is to make, or like for me, my goal is to launch this group coaching program. So the way I would reverse engineer that is, what do I need to do before that? So the end goal might be January 1, we start. What do I need to do before that? Well, I need to have people in the course, right? What do I need to do before that? How do I get people in the course, right? It might be, well, there's a website that needs to be set up, or I need to have a sales page, or I need to send emails, right? So you can start reverse engineering the steps. So basically the steps that lead up to the target that you're trying to hit. But once again, you go backwards. So before I can have people in the course, they need to receive an email letting them know when the course is, what's the start date or what link to come into to access the course materials. In order for them to get that email, I need to create a new list in my email so that all these people are on one email, right? So with big projects, you can reverse engineer a lot, and then you can see what are the different sub areas you need to attend to. But once again, it just becomes now a series of activities and to-do lists, right? Now, the problem in sometimes having a large target, right, and the many subsets is that it becomes overwhelming. Has anyone here, have you ever been overwhelmed by a project or a goal? So you can either tap the screen so I see the hearts, I know you're there, or you can just put yes into the comment. Have you ever been just overwhelmed by what your vision is and what you want to do? All right, I see some hearts going. So yes, you've been overwhelmed. Someone said yeah. So to reduce the overwhelm, to reduce the fear, so reverse engineering doesn't work for everyone because it becomes overwhelming. So another tip that I have for you, another strategy, is to just think about or ask yourself, what is my next best step? Right? So once again, you have a target, you have this vision for where you're aiming. Head there and then think, what is my next best step? What is the next best step? Don't think about the whole ladder. If you were climbing a ladder, just go the one spoke. What is that next best step I need to take? And I usually suggest take the step that doesn't create anxiety for you. Take the step that doesn't create anxiety for you. Okay, I'm blocking some people. I don't need kisses and hugs and stuff. Right? So once again, when you think about goal setting, reframe it as a targeting, right? You're now targeting, you're aiming for something. To decide where you need to aim and what actions you need to take, you can reverse engineer it and think about all the steps that you need to take from your target. Like, what's the next step? What would be the step that comes before your target, the step before that, the step before that? So that's reverse engineering. Now, like I said, when you have a big target, there could be so many steps that it becomes overwhelming. And so that process may not work for you. The other alternative with that, right, and this how to get to your target, your goal, is to then just think about your next best step. And when you do that next best step, then when you're done with that, your question is again, what is my next best step, right? So this way you're not seeing the whole staircase, you're just taking one step. And often you have to take that step in faith. You have to take that step in faith. My child is, Gregory, stop the crying, please. He like really gets upset after these video games. He's a preschooler. Okay, so now we talked about goal setting and the how and all that stuff like that. And I want to take you a step further with this idea of fear around, we can say setting targets, right? Or I'll just use the traditional language again of setting goals. The fear that comes up around setting goals. And one way to look at it, right, if you want to like, not so much ignore the how, but let's put it on the back burner. A better way to set goals, right, and in a way that helps you accomplish them is to think about who do you need to be to get to where you want to go, right? So now you have to figure out who you be now, right? What are your priorities? What are your values? What are the things that you're spending your time on? And then who do you need to be to get to the target that you're aiming for? Right? So once again, I'm launching a course. I'm going to change my one-on-one private coaching into a group program. So I have to be a different person in a way, right? I have to be someone, what I've been figuring out is that I need to be someone who's more visible than I have been in the past. Right? Because I need to attract women who want to come into the group program. I need to be someone who's a bit more consistent right now and disciplined in order to do that, because now I got to create all these launch emails and these launch videos and all this stuff like that, right? And yesterday, in thinking about launching, I got all this anxiety about, oh my God, I got to do all this stuff. And I said, Quanisha, who do you need to be? And like Beyonce, if you like Beyonce, you can tap, let me see the hearts if you like Beyonce. You might not like her politics, but you might like Beyonce as an artist. I love her as a businesswoman, right? Because she goes, I'm a diva. I'm a diva. A diva is a female version of a hustler. Of a hustler, right? So I love that. I love the diva. And that's why I put diva moves. Forget a boss. I want you to be a diva, right? I want you to show up in all your glory and all your strength. Own who you are. All right, Mocha, I see you. And a diva is a female version of a hustler, right? Right? Be all divalicious, right? So when I was having this anxiety yesterday, I had to remember who I was. I said, Quanisha, who you be? Right? Or who do you need to be? And I decided to put on my alter ego like Beyonce does. So Beyonce has Sasha Fierce, right? She's the diva, Sasha Fierce, because Beyonce, you kind of see this in her life and how she describes herself, she's timid, she's reserved, she doesn't like the spotlight. So for her to go out and perform, and I get that because I used to do performance arts, I used to dance, African dance, and all this stuff like that. You have to almost become someone else to tap into this performance self, this entertainer. And so for Beyonce, that's Sasha Fierce. And for me, my alter ego name is Venus. And Venus is my line name. I'm a Delta, and that's what they named me, Venus, for my love of the organization. And it really is the love of the purpose of affecting change and being a trailblazer for Black women advancement and community advancement, right? So I decided to tap into Venus, right? And I have a Black woman CEO domination playlist that I created, and I'm going to probably share some of it in a blog post so that you can see the different songs in my playlist. So I put on my playlist, I put on my Venus self, right? I took a shower, put some makeup on, and I said, it's time to stand up for my community. Polly Bohogram said, I need that playlist. Yes. Woo, Delta. Okay. So, right? Because I know what I stand for. I know who I'm fighting for, right? I know how I want to serve them and where I want to serve them and who. And I had to tap into that self, right? So think about, who do you need to be to get to where you want to go, right? And then what do you need to tap into so that you show up and show out for what you want to accomplish in life, right? The purpose that you want to fulfill at this time, right? Because I'm not one of those people that believes purpose is like this 30-year goal. I believe there's iterations. You can have a purpose for a season, right? You know, there's different aspects of purpose, and that's another video that we can go into. But who do you need to be to get to where you want to go, right? Do you need to be more confident? Do you need to be more organized? Do you need to take on some new values and priorities, right? So that you can lose that weight or start that business or make that money or get that promotion that you're seeking? Who do you need to be to get to where you want to go, right? And another aspect of that, so you have the who. Salute. Hey. So you have the who you need to be. And then I want you to think about, for effective goal setting, is why. Why these particular goals and targets? Why, right? Like, what does it mean to you to accomplish that? Why is it important to you? Right? Is it going to help you advance your mission that you have for children, right? Is it going to help you maybe have the income to impact your family, right? Because usually the why is somewhere around impact, influence, and income, right? It could be the impact you want to have either with yourself or your business, or influence. Maybe you want to influence something and change the way something's happening, whether it's you personally in your life or something, outside of yourself. And then, or income, right? You want to have more money. That can then also affect your impact and influence, right? But think about your why. And the reason why I want you to think about your why is because, once again, those times when the fear is creeping up, or you're questioning your ability, maybe your confidence and self-esteem is low, your self-worth might be in the gutter. The why can propel you. It can help you get pushed by your larger purpose. So once again, when I had my fear creeping up, I put on my Black woman CEO domination. I don't speak French, so you might have to, I don't speak French, so you might have to go like, I don't know, somewhere else. So I put on my Black woman CEO domination, I put on my Venus self, right? And then I tapped into my why, right? I'm doing this business, and when you think about our current political situation, I'm just going to be real blank. When you think about Trump being president, right, and the impact that can possibly have on Black communities, Black women, and other disenfranchised groups, it is more important than ever for us to be moving towards our economic advancement. More important than ever. So I cannot shrink from my purpose and my vision. And like I said, this is something I believe God gave to me, right? This is not, I wasn't just sitting around and saying like, hey, I want to help Black women. I felt this was a calling. I changed my life to do all of this, right? And so that's my why. That's my large why when I think about my contribution to a community and responsibility to it. Yeah, systematically surviving Trump. That's my homegirl right there. She's a genius. She just put it all right there. Systematically surviving Trump, right? And the other part of my why is the impact I want to have on my family, right? I believe in breaking generational curses. My family, for you can say 2 or 3 generations, have lived in poverty or being at the low income side. Some people have moved on to working income, right? And I've had this, been fortunate to have gotten scholarships and things like that, that has afforded me certain opportunities. Like I've gone on to an Ivy League college, and all these other things like that, right? And my role now is to make sure that my children do what I did and beyond that, right? And for me, I want to leave a wealth legacy for them, because that's another issue, particularly with African Americans in our country. Our net worth is way lower than every other group. Every other racial and gender group. I think it's like the average African American has like 7,000 in net worth, and then the average white family has like 4 times that in net worth. So think about that disparity. And I don't want to contribute to it. I want to break it, and I want to be a part of helping other Black families break it. And when you also think about Black families, the majority of Black families are headed by Black women. Single Black women. And then you can say the other part that's married still has a Black woman in it, right? So when you think about the viability of our communities, Black women are so central to that. And that is why I want to serve them and help them with their economic empowerment, their self-development, their self-empowerment, right? So that we can basically change the dynamic of a generation. So when you think about goal setting, right, it's not just writing your SMART goals on a piece of paper. It is thinking about who do you need to be to accomplish that? What do you need to change in your life? What do you need to change in your everyday experiences to actualize that? And then think about why. Why? So that when that fear crops up, when your confidence is getting shook, right? When you're questioning who am I to even do this? Or does anybody care even what I have to say? Right? When you think about that around your visions and the things that you're setting out, right? Even if they're very personal goals, I'm talking about this in the entrepreneurship realm, but even the losing weight, right? It could be like, well, who am I to go looking good, right? Who am I to value my health, right? Because as Black women, the world is telling us they don't care about us. Or we've been taught, this strong Black women, that we take care of everybody else first before we take care of ourselves. So now you're saying, when you prioritize your health or your wellness, that I'm going to be putting myself first. Who are you to do that? Who are you to do that? Those are the thoughts that are going in your head. I know it because they personally go in my head. I know it because the studies say that's what goes on in our head. And I know it because I have lots of clients who tell me that's the stuff that goes on in our head as Black women. Right? And other groups face it too, particularly women in general. But for us as Black women, we have that extra cultural context in our historic self, right? We have the strong Black woman, the mammy, the Jezebel, the Sapphire, that influences how we show up in the world. And these are studies. This is not just me making it up. These are studies that show that those stereotypes impact how we choose to show up in our workplaces, in our relationships, right? It impacts the actions that we take, because this is what happened. Either we're trying not to be the stereotype, right? So once again, you're questioning your every move all the time. So maybe you don't show up as the loud Black girl or the loud Black woman. Or we unconsciously take them on and internalize these very problematic beliefs. And my whole thing is that there's a positive side to these archetypes, right? So when you think about the strong Black woman, you can think that she's a matriarch, right? She's someone that's fierce and nurturing, right? Now it's how can you put that fear and nurturance to yourself? Right? When you think about Sapphire, she's our activist, right? She don't take nothing from nobody. So it's how can you put Sapphire into your benefit so it's of service to yourself? Maybe now you're saying, I'm going to stand up for my wellness, my health, my family, and I'm not going to let anybody tell me who I can't be or what I can't do or that I am not present or seen. Right? So we can take these stereotypes and the negative side of them, one, see the positive side, and then put it in service of who we are. Right? So that change that needs to happen comes manyfold. It's not just, oh, what are the new thoughts you need to have, which is important. Our thoughts, when you think of cognitive behavioral therapy, our thoughts impact our beliefs, which impact our actions, what ultimately impacts the results that you get, right? So it's not just the thoughts alone, but it's the self-perception of who you are. She said, you better speak, Black woman. Yes. It's that self-perception of who you are, and that impacts what you do. It impacts what you do. Right, so I know I got all passionate and rah, Black woman, right? But that's actually what I wanted to talk to you about today, right? So the effective goal setting, not just about writing down some stuff on paper, right? It really is, one, tapping into alternative ways of goal setting, which is like targeting, right? Taking the emotions out of it so that your fear and all that other stuff doesn't stop it. And you just see it as a feedback mechanism. Like, I take an action. This is the result. Now, what is the new action? This is the result. Let me go that way, right? But beyond that, beyond just the how of goal setting, right? What are your next steps? Or what reverse engineering, thinking about all the steps I need to do prior to getting to my target, right? So that's you can say the strategy or system aspect of it. But beyond that, like I was just saying, is the who do you need to be to get to where you want to go, right? And in that who, as Black women, we have to bring in the cultural context. Hey there, right? We have to bring in that cultural historic context. And then the why. Why is achieving that goal important to you? What would it do for you once you achieve it, once you accomplish it, right? What in your life might change? Or what are you striving to stand for and fight for and impact? Or what do you even want to be known for, right? What is the why behind these targets? So that is the effective goal setting tips of Black Woman Rise. So the reason why I'm doing this video, like I said, I am putting on my Venus self, my alter ego. Oh, that's the last thing I talked about. Having an alter ego that can help you achieve what you want to achieve. Thank you. So someone said I'm beautiful instead I have a beautiful mouth. I thank you for the compliment, I think. So one, also tapping into an alter ego, right? Sometimes we need to just tap into that stronger version of ourselves, and I suggest that you name her, right, so that you can put her on. And there's also an opposite of that, right? So some of us have a victim side of ourselves, and I suggest you name that. My victim side is Vicky. So sometimes I gotta tell Vicky about herself when she's creeping up, because as a victim, we often think that something's always happening to us. The world is happening to us. Something's impacting us. So I want you to name these both sides of yourself, right? Who's that divalicious self? Name her. Mine is Venus. That's my line name. And then there's the victim part of yourself, right? Someone who might be your crybaby version, or you feel like the world is always against you, right? Name her. Mine is Vicky, right? Because this way it helps you personify these things and not make them your truest self, right? So you can tell Vicky to go be quiet when she needs to be quiet. And you can tell Venus, I need you to come out so I can go write my launch emails that I need to write in the sales page so I can help the people that I want to help, right? So that was the other tip that I gave, and if you want to look back in the beginning. But I'm doing this video and I'm sharing these effective goal tips because my aim is this Saturday. Because I'm a mompreneur. I just had a baby. I have an 11-week-old and my 4-year-old. So we'll see if they allow me. Or, like I said, I got to tap into Venus so that I can do the slides. But on Saturday, my goal is to do a webinar. And the webinar is going to be Purpose Planning 2017. Right, and really helping you to walk more deeply into the steps that I talked about in this video, right? The setting your targets, figuring out who you need to be to get to where you want to go. What are the values, the worldviews, the belief systems that you need to take on to get there, and the behaviors and actions you need to take, not just for yourself, but also for your business. Like I said, I work with Black women entrepreneurs. Right? So even if you're a leader and you want to take on entrepreneur abilities, jump on this webinar on Saturday. So I'm only sending information out about this webinar to the Black Women Rise list. Right? There won't be ads going out. I won't be sharing the link, and I'm only going to be sharing it via email to sign up for it. So go to blackwomenrise.com, that's Black Women with an E, and join the community. Join us. Right? Because we're an awesome community of Black women and Black women CEOs in the making, and CEOs really taking on that leadership. So go to blackwomenrise.com if you would like to be part of the webinar. And I like to say a workshop. I'm not here to lecture at you. I'm actually here to help you get it done. So you will be getting stuff done on Saturday when we're in this training, right? So if you know that, the tips that I shared with you today, if you need to kind of walk through those steps and really think about who you are, I'm going to facilitate that process for you so that you can really have not just your targets for 2017, but you're going to embody them, right? Really, who do you need to be and who do you need to show up? And you can start practicing over the next 6 weeks to start on the way to accomplishing what you need to accomplish in 2017. So once again, I'm only sharing this with the Black Women Rise community. So go to blackwomenrise.com with an E, so WOMEN. Join the community. And when you join, we actually have a gift for you. I actually give my 12 effective leadership resources for Black women. So 3 of the resources talk about your strengths and help you find out your strengths and your talents. And the other 9 are resources that are by us and for us. Right? So that's our gift to you when you join the community. So I hope to see you this Saturday. I'm kind of doing a challenge. So this is my public declaration of my challenge. Hey, Sister Sense, one of my mentors there. She's in our Black Women Rise Leadership Guide. So if you want to learn more about Sister Sense, Henry, she's one of my mentors, my Black women mentors that I say you all should know. So that's Sister Sense. So definitely check her out. Go to blackwomenrise.com. I lost my train of thought because I got all excited about LaShonda. Thank you, blackwomenrise.com. Sign up for the leadership guide. Because in the purpose planning workshop, we're going to go deeply into not just setting your goals and targets for 2017, but really digging into who do you need to be to achieve those goals and getting into your why. And for entrepreneurs, we're also going to help you then decipher what is your 3-word brand. Right? And what is your 3-word why? So this year for the Black Woman CEO, our 3-word brand is to help you dominate, execute, and inspire the people that you want to in your community, right? And then I had to decide, what is my 3-word brand? Who do I need to be to do that, right? And I have to be someone who's always authentic, who's showing up, right, for myself and being vulnerable, right? So those are some of the things we're going to talk about. So we talk about it in a holistic context, but we also give you the systems and strategies to help you get there. So once again, this is Quanisha. I am the CEO and founder of the Black Women Rise movement and a Black Woman CEO coach. And I'm signing off, blackwomenrise.com. So if you're just joining in, thank you for all those who are joining. Definitely go back and watch the video because I share all these tips around goal setting and how to get there and how to deal with fear and to be more confident and all that great stuff. So I will see you all soon. Oh, that's what I was saying. Okay, before I sign off, I was saying that I'm going to do that 30-day periscoping challenge. You're so welcome, Polly Boho Glam. I'm going to do that 30-day periscoping challenge, right? One of my coaches, I highly believe in coaching and mentorship. And right before, I just had an 11-week-old, and right before I had the baby, I was doing private coaching, and she said, I want you to do a 30-day challenge. And I was so sick with my pregnancy, there was no way that was going to happen. Thank you, Mocha. She said, awesome content. So I am now committing. So this is my public declaration. Today is, November 15th. I'm committing to 30 days of periscoping. So even on Thanksgiving, if I have to come up here for 2 minutes, right, I'm committing to 30 days of periscoping. We're going to talk about various entrepreneur strategies, more things around Black women and overcoming some of our challenges and how to leverage our strengths in service of helping us to be more economically empowered, right? To be the CEOs of our life as well as our business. LaShonda said, get it. She's one of my mentors. She's like, go ahead, baby girl. Go ahead. Okay. So now I'm officially signing off. Thank you. She said she's proud of me. So I'm coming to you for the next 30 days. I'm going to practice that out. And like I said, this Saturday, we're having our Purpose Planning 2017. So go to blackwomenrise.com, join the community, get our free leadership guide, and I will be sending out some emails with more information about how to log into the workshop this Saturday. So I'm really going now because I got to go make sure my 4-year-old did not tear up the living room downstairs. All right. I love you all, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.